Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are new. I'm super excited about today's video. I have 4, I believe, DIYs to share with you. They're easy, quick. They are using either Dollar Tree items or items I already had around my house that I'm just kind of giving a little bit of a makeover. They're perfect for spring, as well as everyday decor, I think. You can kind of switch them out a little bit. You'll see when we get into it. Anyways, without anything further, let's get into the DIYs. All right, so for this first one, I have this sign from the Dollar Tree, and I actually started using this for another video and never ended up finishing it. Well, I had problems. So anyways, I just wanted to show you what I was using to start it off with. So I'm scraping off the happy sign. I think they had these in a few different ones, but you're gonna scrape that off. It was actually just like cardboard, and then I'm using some sandpaper to finish cleaning that up and then giving it a coat of Waverly chalk paint in the color white. Now with what I ended up doing with it, I could have skipped the whole painting process, but I wanted you to see what the original sign was. And now I just have some scrapbook paper that I am cutting down to size, and I'm gluing this on with a glue stick. If I didn't say that sign was from the Dollar Tree, I don't remember if I already said that. And then I pieced together another piece of paper just to finish giving the backdrop here. But you can use any scrapbook paper. I almost used a part of a calendar page. Anyways, whatever you want. And I decided to pull out these little tools from Plaid. They had sent me in a box a while back, and I have not used this little roller yet. It's supposed to be really helpful for using Mod Podge, which I wasn't using on this particular project, but to smooth it out, and I really like it, so I'm excited to use it for some Mod Podge in the future. And then I have this little stencil. This was one of those circle wheel stencils from the Dollar Tree, this cute little bird. I had cut them apart just because it was easier for me to store it. And then I just taped off the little stem on the bird. The bird's like supposed to be perched on a branch, so not stem, a branch, but I didn't want to do that. So I just taped that off, and then I'm just using some white acrylic paint and a stiff brush, and we're just going to stencil this on. I'm giving some good coverage because I have such a bold print, but I'm also not worried about it like looking super crisp. I didn't want any bleed through, and I'm going with a little bit of a more like rusticy look, so it doesn't have to really, I don't know, you'll see. It doesn't have to be like super solid. This is a little out of my norm, the colors that I'm using, but I thought it'd be really pretty for spring. But you could use any paper, any stencil, anything you want, and really go for, you know, whatever you want to do here. But this is what I chose to do, and I thought it came out really cute. It's kind of like subtle because the pattern is so bright, but it's just enough where you can, I don't know, you can still see it. And then I have these beaded sticker strips from the Dollar Tree, and this first batch I somehow peeled the beads off of like the sticky part. So I wasn't really sure what was happening here, so I pulled out some glue and glued them on, and then when I went to do the next ones I realized somehow it just came detached. But either way, the glue worked as well. And I just wanted to add a little bit of embellishment here. These little beads are also fun to put on stuff, and you could like paint over them, but I kind of went for a different total vibe on this piece here. So it's a little bit, I don't know if it's actually like shabby chic, but it's a little bit more pretty, dainty maybe. But anyways, I like how it came out, and I just put 3 strips on one side, 1 on the other, and it just kind of added a little bit of subtle detail. Popped this back in the frame, and that's it for this one. I really love how this came out. I think it's very pretty, and it'll be fun for spring. So for this next one, I have this little watering can. This was originally from Hobby Lobby, and it had been a spring or Easter one with a little chick on it. You could kind of see a yellow spot there that I had taken it off previously. And normally I just put this on my tier tray and turned it around, but I decided I wanted to try to paint it. So I sanded it down to kind of rough up the texture of it, wiped it off, and we're going in some Waverly chalk paint in the color Celery. I love using greens in my everyday decor, but I also feel like it's really pretty for spring. I love using different greens. So we're going to paint it. I'm going to try to leave the spout and the handle white, and I did have to do a couple coats of this. It's metal, so let it fully dry in between coats to make sure that you get good coverage and that the paint does not peel back off. But I was going to say, I picked up this watering can from Hobby Lobby a couple years ago on clearance for like, I don't know, maybe like 20 cents or something. I love finding seasonal items that can be used all year round, or in different ways or that I can make over, but I get them super cheap because they mark their seasonal stuff down so much. So just something to be looking for when you're out shopping. And I'm painting the base of it and the top rim to cover up that black. So now I've got a couple of good solid coats on this, and we're going to, what are we doing? Going in. Oh yes, I bought these stamps from Dollar Tree and they're super pretty. There's already paint on it because I experimented on another surface. I don't have any ink, so I tried just using this pouncer brush with a little bit of paint on it and brush that across the top and carefully place this on. And it doesn't come out like super crisp, but I think it's really pretty and it kind of looks like it's been there a while, which I like that look. So I love this, and I did it on both sides. I picked out this little hummingbird and let that dry completely. And now we're going to go in with some Mod Podge, and I did the one that is dishwasher, for like dishwasher safe items, which this is not going to be used for that, but it also had a high gloss, which I wanted so that it would kind of match the handle and the spout because they were glossy as well. But I don't know if you knew this, Mod Podge has tons and tons of different types of Mod Podge, and Plaid sent them to me and I've been having fun using them. Definitely check them out. I just styled this with some pretty little florals that I had laying around, and I'm going to probably put this on like a tier tray or maybe a filler on a shelf, but I love how it came out. This next thing is this jar that I picked up from Hobby Lobby. It's got a little chalkboard spot that I didn't want to use, and so I sanded it down a little bit, and now I'm going over with more of that Waverly chalk paint in the color Celery. I had picked up this jar either when it was on clearance or on sale, but it was super cheap and I haven't really been using it. So I was like, well, let me go ahead and paint it and use it in a different way than maybe I originally intended to. So once again, let it dry thoroughly in between coats because it is on glass and you want to make sure that the paint does not peel off. But I got a couple of good coats on there, and I'm going to seal it in with some Mod Podge. This time I'm using one in the matte finish just because I like that better for this project. And gave that a good coat and let that thoroughly dry. That's going to help keep the paint from chipping off. And then I have this ribbon from the Dollar Tree, and I tried avoiding pulling out my glue gun, so I tried using some glue to attach it. But long story short, it didn't work, and I had to pull out my hot glue gun anyway. But I'm just going to glue this around, attach this around the middle of my jar. And then I wanted a little bit something else, so I've got a piece of twine and I'm using my lighter to burn off all of the extra little hairs, and I'm wrapping this just a few times around the middle of the ribbon to kind of tone down the lace but still let the lace be seen, and once again put in some flowers that I had, and I just love how this came out. Super pretty, and it'll be a great little filler piece for spring, but you could change out the florals and make it a little less springy if you wanted as well. For this final DIY, I have one of these little terracotta pots from the Dollar Tree. I think this is the smallest ones that come in a 3-pack, and I've had them forever. I've had 2 left forever. I used one a long time ago. Anyways, I'm going to give this a coat of paint. I am just using white paint. I believe that was Apple Barrel, which is also a Plaid product. Plaid makes a lot of DIY products that we use. Anyways, I'm going to give this one coat, but one good coat. The terracotta will soak it up really, really well, and it dries quick. And I decided to do the inside of the pot too, just because it dries super quick. And I don't know, I knew I wanted to do the top of the inside, so I just did the whole thing. Anyways, I found these fun rub-on transfers from the Dollar Tree, and I thought they'd be cute for the rim. Now, I had a little struggle, and I wanted to share it with you. I was having trouble. It wasn't transferring, and it was starting to pull off the paint. So I sanded that down, repainted the top, and now I'm going to give it a coat of Mod Podge once again in the matte finish before I do the rub-on transfer. I think that sometimes the rub-on transfers, when you've painted a piece, it pulls it back off and it just doesn't work well. So I did it this time and it transferred very easily. I just used my fingernail. I did only like a few at a time. I could have just done one strip, but being that it was rounded, I couldn't get it to like lay flat. So I just did like, I don't know what this design is. It's kind of like little flowers. I did like 4 or 5 of them at a time and just went all the way around. And then I didn't want it to look quite so perfect. So I'm using a stencil brush with very, very little white paint across the top of the rub-on transfers, just so that it didn't I don't know, I wanted it to not look like it was freshly done. And then I'm going in, doing a little bit of dry brushing again. Very little paint. You can see I'm trying to get as much of it off of my paintbrush as possible. And I'm just kind of, I don't know, I wanted some texture. I didn't want it to just look, I don't know, like a brand new little pot. But I'm just going around with that until I had the desired look that I was going for. And then I took some greenery that I had on hand and put that in there. It's actually little pieces off of a garland that I had bought on clearance at Hobby Lobby. And I love how this came out, and it's another cute little piece, perfect for a tiered tray. Okay guys, well that's going to do it for today's video. If you liked it, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. And if you are new here, please consider subscribing before you leave and turn on that notification bell so you don't miss out on my future videos. That's it for today, and I'll see you next time.